going to demonstrate a few tasks that are possible, just to give you some ideas of what we could do when we're creating our own tasks. So for example, one that I've used in many different modalities, yoga and also dance and also in the movement world, is something I call free balance. So what I instruct people to do is to stand on one leg, and then we start to build this. So I start to see how I can move my lifted leg in as many different possibilities, encouraging you to go a little ugly, encouraging you to go with different tones, so loose, relax, and we just use this as a check-in moment just to see how balance is. And maybe for this student that you have, or this work that you're doing for yourself, this is enough. We can also start to add, so I can start to move my standing hip, my standing knee. I'm adding more options, more variability. Recalling this task we had previous week when we were doing this in partners, pushing each other off balance. And then I involve my torso, I involve my arms, I involve my head. And what I'm trying to do here is actually push and pull myself off balance and see how I recover. To see all those spaces in between. I try not to pivot or hop too much, what's going to happen. I want to get to that failure place where I'm just about falling out, and then see how my body has to recover. I do this for duration. Do this for a certain amount of time. You'll kind of figure this out for yourself or your class, and then you would switch to the other side. The focus of this one is to work with balance in this earthquake architecture way that we were talking about before, and also to make sure that our balance is not just certain planes or ranges. So we're able to go into balance, we're able to balance in motion in all different places, so when we do have to go into a static balance, more static balance, and we have a little trouble, someone walks in front, something happens, we go into a little loop, and then we are able to reset again. So this would be an example of focused balance, and this would be an example of a task that you could set even if people were still on a mat. One more task that we can look at here is swimming. So what happens is if we have a space, we want to encourage people to move a bit, I can take this task of swimming, and I have many different iterations of this, but one of them is I swim on the floor. I try to move and rub my whole body on the ground. It doesn't have to be anything specific. What I'm trying to do though, or what the rule is that has to be enforced, is that I keep my hands and feet always on the ground. So I can move, I can set myself a challenge of trying to locomote through space. I can set myself a challenge of coming up high. I can set myself a challenge of doing movements that are maybe familiar to me. I cheated with my head off the ground. I try to find these pathways without taking my feet or my hands off the ground. This can be backs of the hands, fingers, whatever feels best. And through this again, instead of just rolling on the ground freely, which is also a useful thing to do in improvisation, we are moving on the ground with a specific rule in order to provoke variability in movement, to take ourselves or our students into places that we haven't been before. Create a task for your modality or your body, set the rules that enforce a certain focus for what you're wanting to work with.